Hey everybody, welcome to Pay Screen and Beyond. My name is John.
I'm Keegan.
Josh. Oh, okay.
Back to John, I guess. And thanks for tuning in. So this week we got some news from Deadpool. We got a new limited run comic coming up with Mary Jane. And what else we got?
We have Batman Curse of the White Knight, number 1 of 8. Came out this week. It's going to be introducing new Batman villains and unexpected allies.
Nice.
Walking Dead movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Andrew Lincoln doing presumably a trilogy of Rick Grimes solo-based movies.
Wait, so we're going to get Rick Grimes. I thought he died.
We haven't heard yet on what time frame to expect for these movies, or even if it's just a movie.
Was this all at Comic-Con this last week? Was that what it was?
Correct.
I didn't know it was actually happening until it actually came up on my news feed that it was happening.
It's a teaser based at this point.
There's so much that happened.
We have Another Life on Netflix, Wolfenstein, Youngbloods, Blair Witch video game, whole bunch of stuff.
Good stuff.
Is there anything particular you'd like to jump off with?
Actually, I'm really in favor of this Youngbloods Wolfenstein game. Seems to be going back to a co-op player. I mean, it's still going to be a like run and gun shoot 'em up gamer. Like, let's kill a bunch of Nazis as fast as possible.
Literally all you need.
Yes, but it looks like a lot of fun actually, and I like a good co-op game. I played Army of Two when it first came out, and the sequel. But
I have not seen yet whether or not it's going to be 2 people doing co-op, so that's something I would be very curious in.
well, from what I could tell from the trailer, it's gonna be like you. If you're playing single player, you're gonna be like doing your thing, killing Nazis, but you're also gonna have like your companion character that's gonna be able to like help you out in certain situations.
So like the Army of 2 aggro.
Yeah, where you can kind of order the other person around to like perform certain tasks or take out certain enemies in certain ways.
So even if you're playing single player, you can still have the element of teamwork throughout.
Exactly. Yeah. I've always liked those types of games where it kind of like Portal 2 was kind of my first introduction to like a really co-op player game besides the original Mario Brothers. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I've always liked the kill all Nazis games.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
Easiest enemy in the world. Coming from Bethesda Softworks, so it's
that's right.
I mean, it's hard to argue with the
Are they out of
talent
Canada?
involved.
I feel like they're out of Canada.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maple syrup sipping sons of bitches. They know how to make a good game, though.
But yeah, so this is taking place 20 years after Wolfenstein 2, and it's got the daughters.
Yep. Twin daughters.
Yeah, twin daughters of BJ Blazkowski. Blazkowski. God, I am just terrible.
Blazkowicz.
Yeah, terrible with pronunciation of last names.
As in, Blazkowicz your ass to the moon.
Good memory.
Yep.
Association.
Yep. Have you guys played any Wolfenstein games at all?
I've heard good things, but I haven't.
It is a shoot 'em up, like A to B shoot 'em up. Like here, go to this point.
Like, what do you like? Are we talking? I mean, like Halo is a shoot 'em up. But like,
it's like Halo in that sense, where like you kind of get dropped off at one point, and you have to go to another point and kind of survive as best you can. But I will give them that like you have to collect health. Like you don't just regenerate health. You have to like actually go around the map trying to like heal yourself. So
how fast paced is it?
It can be fast paced for certain missions, but you can get hung up on enemies really quickly. especially if they have like heavy weapons and you're like in a corner or like there's one mission in the first Wolfenstein where you're in like a hangar with
Bunch of Nazis.
bunch of Nazis. There's also 2 or 3 giant mechs that you have to kill, and the turrets that are on the helicopters and the hangars run out of ammo. So you have to be good with your shot, or you're gonna have to run to that other helicopter. So they don't make it easy to kill all the enemies, which I like because you want to play a game and you want it to be challenging. So.
Yeah, and as a sci-fi junkie, I love the look of the suits in this game.
Yeah, it's the suits actually are like ancient technology, quote unquote. So it's a really cool like twist on the story.
Ancient technology, but how far in the future is this game set, or in the past?
The first one takes place in like World War II Nazis.
Right, but this technology seems to definitely not be obviously World War II technology.
It's not man-made. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I always like a nice little sci-fi twist on a game in any way.
Well, it just seems like they're adding ridiculousness to a timepiece where it's like, this
Oh,
stuff
you're-
doesn't belong here, but we're going to put it here anyway.
This is like a Man in the High Tower universe where Nazis like won. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so if you haven't played the games at all, sorry, I spoiled that, but the Nazis won, and you have to kill them all. And there's crazy scientists and fanatics and other like sub characters that you like sub bosses basically that you have to fight. In Wolfenstein 2, you get to fight and kill Hitler, who's really old, but he's like still alive. So that's fun.
Again, cathartic release at its finest.
Yeah, who doesn't like to kill a Nazi?
Oh my god, they're the easiest person to kill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad killing pretty much anyone in a game,
Yeah.
but when it comes to Nazis, I actually just like, yes, let's kill more Nazis.
It's one thing where you're gonna just take unnecessary side objectives because it gives you just
there's
more
a
rounds.
there's a reason Nazi Zombies is such a cult favorite these days.
Yeah, because Nazis and zombies both suck.
They both suck and they're all evil. So what else we got?
Well, if we're gonna go from what you're most excited about, let's jump into mine. I got no sleep the other night. Ended up pulling an all-nighter because I found Another Life on Netflix. It's the brainchild of
Second Life?
Another Life. Another Life is a brainchild of Aaron Martin. And starring Katie Sackhoff, Justin Chatwin, Samuel Anderson. It breaks my heart that this is sitting at 7% on Rotten Tomatoes because it takes so many different sci-fi elements, jamming them all together. Just a quick little overview because I imagine most people haven't seen or heard about this. Basically, aliens come to Earth, drop a crystal tower or implant that grows up, this crystal tower that's emitting frequencies to another planet, so sending a signal from Earth somewhere else. And we don't have in this show really any interaction with aliens for the first few episodes. It's just the technology they left behind and where it's going. Okay. And there's the main characters are a couple with a daughter, scientist and an astronaut. Scientist stays behind to
always a daughter involved.
Oh yeah, gotta have that family dynamic.
Gotta pull the heartstrings.
So dad stays behind to examine the crystal structure that's left behind. They just refer to it as the artifact. Yep. And the astronaut wife goes to with the Salvare is the name of the ship, to the place where they are sending the signal to. So it's both parties trying to figure out why the aliens are here, what their purpose is, you know what I mean? What do we do next? How do we prepare?
Do you ever actually find out?
So I finished season 1, and that's why the 7% on Rotten Tomatoes has me so worried, because
Do they kind of leave it open-ended?
much in the way that, anything these days is trying to build to more. So the ending doesn't give you all of the answers and all of the satisfaction of, this entire world being brought to a close. But as far as, an arc of finding out, both teams succeed in finding something out about these aliens.
Mm.
And each episode just leaves you so hungry for the next one because, this is a very bingeable thing and the characters in it are very, layered. Because each time you think you have a character pegged, you kind of learn a new wrinkle and another side of it. And
Someone's always got some other baggage.
my biggest praise of this show that, if I'm going to try and get people into it, is they have the AI for the ship is programmed with emotions. The character's name is William.
Why would you do that?
Oh, that's going to speak to Keegan so much, though.
For
sure.
Integrating with the frantic people. I mean, I really don't know. To help people understand if you can say things in layman's terms or if you can, you know what I mean? Because not everyone who is a member on this flight crew has the same skill set.
I mean, you also want, like, the AI taking care of people to at least make the people it's taking care of feel like it's empathetic to their...
And it's the shining light of the show.
Yeah?
The actor, Samuel Anderson, plays William so charismatically. Like, intelligent and confused at the same time because trying to...
Like, he's trying to figure out what's going on as well as they are.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously,
It's not
without getting into
all-knowing
spoilers,
AI.
it is a very intelligent AI, but we're also dealing with things that humans can only look at through telescopes. You know what I mean? Like, they've had in this series, a crew that went to Saturn, and that was the extent of their extraterrestrial travels. So they have ships that can go light speed and keep the ship safe, despite asteroid fields and stuff like that, but they're still dealing with a lot of unknown trying to find this inhabited planet. I love the mess out of this show.
Yeah, I'm going to have
can't
to
speak highly
seriously
of it.
check it out. I haven't even heard of it. Another Life.
Yeah, but enough people, rally behind it, we could potentially get a second season and get a little bit more closure to the story. Because even though it does have a good end to the arc, I would love to keep living in this world a little while longer.
Now, is it... With Netflix making its own, like, sci-fi thing, is it... I'm worried... Do you remember the... What was it? Cloverfield Paradox?
I do. I did take the time to watch that.
How is it compared to that? Because...
Well, you know how I said that you get a lot of pulls from other sci-fis in another life?
Yeah.
I did get a feel of the Paradox, but it's so many different things that it's tough to put it in any one box. Like, I'd also, in the same breath, kind of put it with Lost in Space, the reboot that they did on Netflix. I mean, there's elements of like person drama, sci-fi exploration,
like serious personal drama along with the actual, like...
right? Because you got the family drama between family, but then also interpersonal relationships.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And then the stress that comes under, like, trying to save the world,
government hierarchies, because you know what I mean. There's a lot of red tape with the people that are on the planet trying to make headway with the artifact.
There's bureaucracy,
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all different, like, corners. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can pick this show up and kind of have some tethering point, something that they can kind of relate to or want to put themselves in the shoes of.
Yeah, that's not bad. I like when shows actually, like, make an effort to humanize the characters in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, and I mean the entire cast is outstanding. I highlighted the AI, but everyone plays their role very well.
Nice, that's good to know.
Yeah, watch a single episode.
I hate when this, like, the premise is good.
There.
Yeah, I hate when the premise is good and the idea is good, but then, like, the acting or the characters, like, just fall flat.
And I mean,
because then
that's what a lot of critics are trying to hit them with, but I simply do not see what they see.
I'll have to for sure give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right. What else we got?
I mean, a few different things. If we're wanting to stay in the vein of Screen, we have the Walking Dead movie that's being teased, and it's not like a direct-to-DVD or streaming movie. It's actually going to be theatrically released, and it's basically a Rick Grimes movie starring Andrew Lincoln reprising his role.
I thought we already talked about that.
We started with Wolfenstein, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We absolutely did.
Oh, I guess we did.
We talked about it before we started recording.
That's right.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that's my bad.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on all of these before.
Sorry,
It's
scatterbrain John.
implied
So,
that
yeah.
it's going to be a trilogy that's beginning filming next year.
Do you think this is going to be? I mean, it's obviously got to be a prequel then, because he
In my
died.
mind, it's going to be telling the show in a more condensed form.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Rick Grimes has been the main character of this show, and saying you're doing a Rick Grimes movie means you're doing a Walking Dead movie. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going to be just breaking him off from everyone that he's interacted with.
But like, how do you like?
Is it just him stumbling before he finds people in Atlanta? Like, I mean, how do you tell this story
Yeah,
without it
'cause,
being
like,
the
we
Walking
all
Dead
know,
cast?
we all know his story in a lot of. I mean, besides him being a cop before, but that's why I mean, like, could this be a prequel before the zombie apocalypse like takes place?
Oh, just a cop drama where Shane's banging his wife?
Yeah, basically.
That's pretty awful.
Like, I don't
want
know
no
where
part
they
of it.
could go with that.
Yeah, I don't know that I really like that idea.
Like,
But it's all a teaser right now. We have not a lot of information.
yeah,
Has not begun filming.
but they've said that like it's going to be the last. Like, it's going to be about Rick Grimes. Basically, it's going to be following him as far as. I
So
can
is
tell.
all of The Walking Dead in all media.
So are they just like pretending he didn't die, or is this happening like in his head as he's dying, or like an Archer thing? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
It's
I don't-
It's
it's-
really weird thing to start doing because
Yeah, it kind of seems like
the story's been told.
yeah.
Very well.
Right.
Like, very elaborately drawn out.
Is it gonna be like the Diary of Rick Grimes or something that like? I don't know. I'm
they still
confused
can,
how they're gonna do this,
Yeah.
especially like live action and not animated or something. Because they've done like the Walking Dead games and they've kind of told like more of his story through that, but it's
Yeah,
I don't know.
thoroughly
I'm
confused
really-
as well.
I'm
Very confused.
really wondering what they're gonna do with that.
Not
Yeah,
only that,
I'm
but
usually
they
the
have to get-
perpetual optimist, but I am trying not to look down my nose at this.
They'll have to get the other characters back. They can't
They
have
have to at
him
least
as
get
the
some.
character, and then
And yeah,
what
because
are they gonna do? I don't get
also like the old guy actually died, didn't he? Like what's his name? From like the second season.
Herschel?
it. Herschel, you're talking about?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like the actor actually died, so they can't bring him back. I don't know. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, Walking Dead or HBO, whoever's fucking in charge of it. But
AMC.
AMC, all right, well, fucking AMC,
It's going to be released by Universal Studios.
Universal. What the fuck are you doing? I don't understand. It better be good, otherwise no one's gonna go see it. They're just gonna figure it out, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's what it is." Well, I don't want to pay money to see that.
It's all an elaborate ruse just so they can create more rides at Universal.
Rick
I
needs some
bet
more
really
money
needs
before he
some
retires. Do you think he's not going to be able to really do any more movies because he's kind of been pigeonholed as Rick?
Andrew Lincoln? I
Yeah.
think that he's a competent enough actor where he could still branch out and do whatever he wants to. It's just whatever project lines up with his interest and abilities.
Right?
As long as he doesn't have to cry when his wife dies.
Just literally incapable.
Have you seen that scene in The Walking Dead?
When he finds out that Carl killed him.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah,
No,
sorry. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry,
That
everybody.
did happen, but it's been years.
People
so.
die in the zombie apocalypse, and yes. Spoiler alert.
I'll show you that after this. It's ridiculous.
Carl!
I mean, I remember seeing it.
I love those memes. Where's this his face? Just
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite scene, but my favorite scene is when Shane lets the zombies out of the barn.
Oh yeah.
That is the best scene in the whole show
That is
by
prob-
far. It's
yeah.
amazing.
It's actually like I lost my shit. I jumped up off my chair when that happened because I couldn't believe it. It's like You can't do that,
Not only,
Shane.
but the thing, you're so mixed because you're like, he's being such an asshole, but he's so right.
He's so right, but you can't do that. Everybody's fucked now. And then they were, and then they weren't. But it's fine, because Shane died. Also, spoiler alert.
Everyone dies.
If you haven't seen the second season of Walking Dead, spoiler alert, people die. All right. What's next?
I think we could jump into October is going to be very interesting with Deadpool starting up a new run, and it comes out at the same time as doing a month of Mary Jane. They're doing a bunch of different variants with Mary Jane Watson on the cover, and she's getting her own comic run of The Amazing Mary Jane.
What superpowers does Mary Jane have? Nothing.
Super sexy.
Super sex.
I was gonna say journalism. but
Super
that's
hotness.
Certain continuity.
She can lure a spider to her home.
Oh.
with her boobs.
I don't know.
The cover though, it looks interesting. It's got Deadpool and Mary Jane shooting their way out of a gallery or something. Super Deadpool-ish. Looks like there's some monsters in it. Can't tell if they're aliens or symbiotes maybe.
It's hard to go wrong with Deadpool.
Yeah.
And just ridiculous enough by having them have those matching shirts.
With the heart Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yep. That was shown at Comic-Con. It suggests that the recently canceled Deadpool comic, which saw its final issue out this week, is already getting relaunched with a new creative team in October. So,
Well, and that's the emphasizing point there is new creative team. Because
yeah.
I love Deadpool to death, but if I'm being bluntly honest, I have fallen off with the recent run of Deadpool. Daniel Way was my guy.
I can't say I've ever picked up a lot of Deadpool comics. I've
That's
read,
what
a few.
that's what got me into the actually picking up books.
My first real introduction to Deadpool was playing the video game on
Right.
360. So I knew about him. I knew the general
at that point, I already knew
gist.
so many Easter eggs.
Yeah, but I really I knew about him. I knew who he was and what he was about, but I had never really had a real introduction to the character himself. And that video game was definitely an introduction. Yeah.
This variant cover doesn't tell me a whole lot of what to expect for narrative, but I am intrigued to get new creative minds on just writing Deadpool. Because,
Yeah.
Deadpool's highlight is his, quippy wit.
His ridiculousness, but also his playfulness in the face of imminent danger, which is always a fun story arc to go with.
Yeah, this one I'm definitely more optimistic than pessimistic because it's
It looks
even
like a
though
shoot 'em up
challenging
comic
to get Deadpool
from what
right,
we see, yeah.
you get the right people involved.
Yep. You get the right people on it, and it can blow up on its own.
I just want my little yellow boxes back. That's the thing that when they bring Deadpool into the Marvel world, whether it's MCU or adjacent, I really hope that they take a leap and bring the yellow boxes in, because that's such a fun layer of his crazy. But it'd be weird now that we haven't gotten it from
I think
the
if we
jump,
get
so having it be an added-on thing.
I think if we get a Deadpool 3, well, they're doing the, what did they announce at Comic-Con with it wasn't the X-Force, but it was something else.
You talking about the new X-Men stuff that we talked about last week?
I think that might have been something else that was a speculation. But if they do a X-Force, a real X-Force movie, they could do the boxes in that, or a Deadpool 3 movie, they could do the boxes in that. In some way.
But they already have a layout on the movies. I just don't know how they would fit him in. If I feel like they would have already had to start doing them from movie 1. To
Yeah.
have them.
Do you think Deadpool is going to be officially brought into the Marvel lineup, or do you think it would still say separate?
I don't think there's any chance that they're going to bring Deadpool into
The
MCU.
real.
I think that having a movie and having a cameo are two totally different things. I think
Yeah.
that you can borderline overuse Deadpool in a cameo capacity, keeping him PG-13, but in regards to giving him his own movie, it kind of has to be an adjacent thing. That's why I'm kind of surprised with the Blade news that
Yeah.
we're getting a new Blade movie, but it is PG-13, which...
I heard it was going to be R.
Did you?
I did.
I've heard conflicting things.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I know there's definitely going to be outcry for it to be rated R.
Well, and
Of
it's
course
a
there is.
it's a slippery slope that House of Mouse is walking right now.
Yeah.
Because they want to have the fan service for the characters, but I mean, even Venom ruffled feathers. I know that's not MCU, but the fact that you have such a great potential for over the top graphic violence.
I think Blade they're going to have to make R.
I don't understand how they could even consider doing it any other way.
Yeah.
And
It's literally called Blade.
but
You're going to be slicing vampires.
it's
Well, the vampires is the easier side of that because generally they just
That's
turn
fine.
to ash. It's more you're dealing with bloodsuckers.
But
There's
if
going to
you're-
be blood in your show.
But what are you how much are you going to be? I mean, I guess Infinity War and
Endgame.
Endgame were PG-13, and there was a
A lot of death.
moderate amount of death and gore in it, more or less.
Good gore is a little excessive of a term.
Yeah.
I think there was a
But it was
large
still
lack of
PG-13.
gore where there
So
should have
does
been.
does R mean that they have R is basically they're able to say fuck at least once or twice? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
I mean, the only difference between PG-13 is the big three: excessive profanity, nudity, and gore.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily violence. You can have
You can
excessive
have
violence.
violence, but gore is the big one.
Right.
That's why Spawn is definitely going to be R.
I would love for somebody to be like, yeah, we're coming out with a PG-13
PG-13
Spawn.
Fuck.
Ick. Oh, that'd be disgusting.
They would lose so much.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds because, I mean, House of Mouse now, baby.
Yep.
But, I mean, regardless, it's going to make money. It's just a matter of how excessive they can get. Because, I mean, Deadpool's a lot easier, in my opinion, where you can just censor the fuck out of him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
They
He's-
released a PG-13 Deadpool.
very
So-
fourth wall breaky. And so many of his jokes are implicit that it's like, it'll fly over the head of, you know what I mean, like PG-13 censorship.
Well, that's what I mean. Is they kind of they're not going to be relying on a lot of the humor and it's Blade is not going to be a comic action movie.
Oh, I hope not.
It's going to be a real dramatic, gritty, hey, I think they are actually going to go with R. Now that they know that they can do it,
It's the MCU.
I think they will.
I would be surprised.
I would be surprised, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to make Blade some sort of campy character with quips
that
and
would
shit like
piss
that.
me off so
It
much.
would be so. It wouldn't be
I would be so
enjoyable.
pissed.
It just wouldn't be
I would
enjoyable.
be so pissed.
You
I would
might
be
have
less
to-
pissed.
You might have to be prepared to be pissed.
I would be less pissed if Deadpool made a cameo. But in order to do that, I think you need to be rated R.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all in the camp of preferring excessive gore and violence.
If you're gonna do a
nudity.
rated R Marvel
language.
movie, it might as well be Deadpool or Blade.
For sure. If you're gonna introduce Blade, I don't even
Yeah.
understand. I don't get it.
Okay, so I think that they could utilize having their cake and eating it too with You just have to tone them down for team-ups. Like, you can have your R-rated Deadpool movie. You can have
Mhm.
your R-rated Blade
But
movie.
for an Avengers,
When-
it's got to be
Right,
PG.
for your cameos or your other movies.
your team ups.
Right. It's basically who's being brought into what movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Right.
why you'd have to bring Deadpool into a Spider-Man movie. You couldn't bring Spider-Man into a Deadpool movie.
Agreed. Although I don't know anymore.
No, you cannot get away with making Spider-Man in a hardcore R sense.
Yeah,
It's-
He has no place
Yeah.
in a world like that.
that's true.
But you can totally bring Deadpool down to play in a much campier, kid-friendly sense.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I watched the Ultimate Spider-Man once, and Deadpool came in, and he said, like unliving or something like that.
Mhm.
I'm
Gonna
going to.
unalive them.
I'm going to
going
be
to-
unaliving them.
Yep. And Spider-Man's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm just gonna unalive them." He's like, "You mean you're gonna kill them? You can't go around killing people."
I'm not killing them. I'm unaliving them. Yeah, I'm excited. Deadpool should never stop making comics. I think that's where most of his fandom is, if I'm not correct.
I mean, you're talking to one, and I
Yeah.
definitely.
Like,
That's why I'm excited to hear this news about getting new creative involved, because they
Yeah.
did kind of lose me for a little while with their current arc of narration.
right?
You know who else is going to be making comics until the fucking sun goes out? Is Batman. Because,
Well, yeah, Batman's never going to die.
and yet, from what I'm hearing, we're bringing in new villains and unexpected allies in Batman Curse of the White Knight. We got 1 of 8 that just came out this week. Basically, Joker recruits Azrael to expose Wayne family secrets, and secrets that Batman doesn't even know about, so it's going to be shocking him to his core.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah, Batman's always going to have that layer of
Bruce's dad got some skeletons.
it's the exact same thing we've always seen, but we love seeing it. So I mean, bring it.
Are they just gonna literally like steal a safe that has a bunch of like papers in it? Or-
If it was something that simple, Joker could have done it himself. So the fact that he's bringing in, because Azrael's a super competent DC character.
What is his like deal again?
I mean, he works with this fraternity is the wrong word, cult is the wrong word, but like a
Is it
brotherhood.
Israel or Ezreal?
Azrael with an A.
Azrael.
He's very physically imposing. You know who I would really compare him to if we're talking DC versus Marvel? I would say he's very similar to Kraven the Hunter, where he's just a super competent brute.
He's a member of the group of assassins who were created by the Sacred Order of the Saint Dumas. I'm not familiar.
Someone who can like put Batman on his heels.
Okay, so he's like basically another ninja, but from a different faction, more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a similar but skewed code.
Okay.
Yeah, him and Batman have worked together before, but
Oh.
it's basically his male Catwoman. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
we
okay.
could duke it out. We could be buddy. It's any given Sunday.
It's
you know what I
kind
mean?
of like how you if you don't fuck me over, I won't fuck you over. But
Much more on the antagonistic end than the
Okay.
buddy end.
yeah,
They are more likely to be at odds than be on the same side.
okay. Yeah, they'll never stop making Batman. They really won't.
Yeah, but I like limited issue runs like this because you can have a beginning and end in sight. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Tell a good it's a equivalent to binging for comics.
Yeah,
You don't have to go through. You know what I mean? Like
you don't have to.
178 issues to be able
Yeah.
to get an arc of a story.
Yeah,
You can go through 8 issues and they just condense it into what's the
It's a
point
little bit
of
more
this run.
a little bit more digestible and just easier to comprehend rather than trying to follow a storyline over more issues than you're willing to read,
Right.
basically. So
Well, and it's
No,
that
I like
instant
that.
gratification of
And
instead
Ben-
of waiting, you know what I mean, years, you're waiting months for the run to conclude its, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because we just got issue 1 of 8. I imagine next month we're going to be getting 2, and
Yep.
within a couple months, this
Maybe
run
not.
will be behind us.
Yep.
Ready for its collector's edition that I'm much more likely to get my hands on.
And I'm always a fan of watching or seeing Batman get taken down a peg. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Get some of those dirty secrets uprooted.
Kind of put you in your place. You're not so fucking invincible.
It's no secret I'm no Batman fan at all. I
But
don't
he
know,
needs to be
I'm-
taken down a peg every now and
I'm,
then.
I'm a little worried that
when you
this
hear
is just gonna
unexpected
turn.
allies, who do you think?
Unexpected allies.
Yeah,
I
'cause it
have
says
no
new
idea.
villains and unexpected allies. It's tough to predict. New
I mean,
villains
obviously
when
the
we have
first
the
ones
Rogues
that
Gallery.
come to mind are the main ones: Penguin, Joker. Maybe Mr. Freeze would be a weird one.
So you think he's gonna ally with a villain?
Yeah,
That would be unexpected.
I mean, he's not going to ally with. I mean, he's already allied with. Didn't he team up with like Ivy and what's her nuts?
Oh, we've
Would
broken
love-
John.
Love to help you out here.
We've broken
damn it.
John.
Harley Quinn. Didn't he team up with them one time to like take on Lex Luthor or some shit?
I mean, Harley and Ivy are known to pair up, and Batman has a
For some
tentative
reason-
relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
Like
Like-
he'll put anybody behind bars, but if you can help him defeat someone else, Batman will play the fucking world.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
here,
true.
let me use you for 5 minutes, and then all right, get back to Arkham.
You know what you did. Get back in prison.
you
That's a good point.
knew what this was.
Yeah, he's kind of a piece of shit, isn't he?
He is kind of a piece of shit in that sense. Like, and
He is the plague to Gotham's
He's-
natural chaos.
I think he's just like a goody goody to the extreme. Really.
That's a
Like-
horrible way of wording it.
I don't see. I don't think he's a very good guy, really.
No, he's definitely not super goody goody.
Well, he's goody goody to like justice and
Yeah, he's got those weird moral lines and stuff that
he'll never kill anybody, but he'll do whatever's necessary to like find justice.
he's a punk.
Just across the bow.
All right, what do we got left? Blair
One-
Witch.
Yeah, one major one. Next month, August
I
30th.
saw this at E3 get teased.
Bums me out a little bit because it's only PC and Xbox One. But
suck it, PlayStation.
yeah, taking that right to the chest. Which is unfortunate because this game looks cool. It's by Bloober Team, and you're following a character named Ellis and his dog Bullet trying to find a lost kid in the Black Hills Forest in Burkensville. So
That's
they go back to the
right next door to our
original
state.
place.
Funny.
Ayo. I mean, you're run of the mill isn't
yeah.
an appropriate term, but
Yeah.
you get a very true horror game aesthetic from this.
It's
I-
very Silent Hill esque.
They've
I think.
teased a combat mechanic, but from the footage I've seen, I haven't seen execution because
What are you gonna? You're not gonna fight the witch.
not the witch, but they have demons
The
that are going to be
demons.
like chasing you about. You have a camera mechanic, and you can interact with the dog that you have as a. You know, I mean, like
They
we were
made a
talking
game
about
just
before
like
filming,
this.
the point
Yeah,
of this is
what
just
was that game?
surviving.
It was Slenderman. They made a Slenderman
That was
game,
yeah.
and it was this basic.
where you had to
concept.
like
There
play
was-
through the camera.
You know, well, I mean, you basically. I think it was just a
What was that other
flashlight. It might have been a camera. I don't remember.
There was another
exactly.
game that where you had to like play through the camera to like see the ghosts or something like that.
I think I remember something like that, but I don't.
I'm trying to remember. Like that was like back in like 2015 or 16.
But Slenderman was basically just like travel around, and they just put in a game mechanic where basically Slenderman's always right fucking behind you.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I love horror games.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean,
To
I don't
see-
care at all about Blair Witch as a story.
I
But-
am actually because I was a big fan of Blair Witch back in the day because I was a kid when I saw it,
Right.
and I was still like, "This is hilarious."
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great original movie,
I don't
in
know.
my opinion.
I
It
mean,
scared me when I was younger, man.
if
For
you
sure
look at
scared
it
me.
as like one of those movies that really pioneered the handheld camera,
It's a cool genre
aesthetic.
for sure.
and then you got it with Cloverfield, and then there was a few other movies
Right.
that like kind of played with it, but it was really the movie that like set the tone for a horror that like put you in the shoes of the person getting killed. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And kind of like
That's fair.
really, it's in a weird way personalized the story because it put you in the shoes of the person. So it like kind of threw you as the viewer into the action and the horror. And there was a lot of people that I remember like hearing articles about hearing people talk about people who would like run or walk out of the theater like dizzy or puke or had vertigo and like they couldn't handle
Well,
it.
yeah, that shaky camera stuff does that a lot.
Yeah, and
Well, and I feel like because
I just like to see a good video game adaptation to a movie that was such a like a cult following or cult favorite.
Did
No
you
pun,
see the second
no
one?
pun intended. No, I did not.
I would suggest watching the second one.
Yeah,
It's not I wouldn't say it's a great movie by any means, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It added more substance to the story of
it kind
The
of
Witch.
explained things.
Well, and
yeah.
that's what I was about to say is I think that the game is going to better utilize the sandbox that they've set up in the movie. Because
Yeah.
even though I didn't care too much about the narrative, because it seemed like there wasn't really anything going on, everything was just kind of like a tease to something that could be better.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a proper utilization of the witch, the woods, and it looked
I
like the graphics are amazing.
The
It's,
graphics, if it
looks terrifying.
if they're
Play it
any-
in the dark room with the volume appropriately loud, and
if the actual final
could be
graphics
intense.
are anything like the trailer, it's going to be one of those games that like you like the movie when it originally came out, you're going to get like sucked into it. And you're not going to want to play it because it's going to be so enveloping and terrifying.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those games where you're like, I want to play this game and I want to get
but I
through
don't want
it,
to play it.
but I'm
because
also
it's-
terrified to even pick up the controller.
if I heard correctly, there are different ways to play the game where you could potentially lose or not lose your dog. So it's like you got to be real careful to keep your buddy alive.
Son of
Ooh,
a
that gives
bitch.
multiple playthrough.
Yes.
options?
From my understanding.
Yes.
Mm.
That's one
I
thing
like
I've heard
it.
about Cyberpunk too, is that there's going to be like 4 or 5 different storylines you can go
Let
to.
that dog die, goddammit.
Like, you like you'll have to play through it 4 different times to find out the whole like story.
I'm currently playing through Detroit Become Human right now. So
Yeah?
I
How-
love that storytelling stuff. Oh, you haven't dabbled?
I have not dabbled actually.
Have you touched Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls before?
I've touched Heavy Rain, not Two Souls.
Okay. They get progressively better in my opinion.
Okay.
I've played all 3. Funny enough, I've played the most out of the most recent, and then in backwards order, a little bit less and a little bit less of each one. But
yeah.
I'm on my second playthrough of Detroit right now, and I mean the storytelling is just so profound because they can go so many different ways that affect chapters and chapters later because you're playing as 3 different characters. So what you do with one character can affect 3 missions down the road with a different character.
Yeah. I like that when a game like actually creates like intertwining storytelling into like
Each choice
each
really
choice
matters.
that you make throughout the game. Yeah. And I really so Bandersnatch. Did you guys ever participate in that? Bandersnatch or whatever?
That's
aware of
the Netflix
the
thing.
Netflix like Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure.
The Choose Your Own Adventure Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely did it through once, and then my girlfrind was like, "No, we can't
You
start.
can't
this
do
over."
this.
I'm
Come on.
bad enough doing it once.
Yeah. I'm really interested in the way that like these developers are making games and videos and movies and things that they play with reality itself and decision and choice itself, because that's ultimately like what you want in an interactive situation or something that you like pay money to play with, or you want to be able to like learn something from it.
You want it to be
You want
your
it to- you want to-
decisions, not just watching a narrative
You
unfold,
want it-
not
yeah.
just playing a movie.
You don't
but
want to just
being
like,
in the
yeah.
movie.
I mean, as much as cool as Uncharted is, and playing through a movie, more or less, is you want something that you can actually take something away from the story.
Man, the consequences make you legitimately feel like shit when you don't do it right
Really?
in Detroit. Oh, if you mess up, you're like, no, I can't go.
Bitch!
I can't hit reset. I have to just play through this outcome until the end and go back and do it better
See, I
next
like
time.
that. I do like that.
Oh,
because-
it's heavy sometimes. It hurts you.
yeah.
You don't want to mess
Well,
up.
those are like, because that's, you want that like that interaction where it like it makes you feel that like visceral reaction, because that's what you want when you pay money for something. You want to be able to have a reaction from it. You don't want to just put a bunch of money in something and then you just sit there and be like, all right, this is cool, I guess.
Right.
The graphics are pretty nice.
And
Oh,
Right?
so disappointing.
I know. I saw it at Pawn America for like $10.
Still.
Almost bought it. All right. Well, anything else we got?
Before wrapping up, I definitely would like to bring up the fact that I watched episode 1 of The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I mean, I can't speak to the series as a whole, but they did a great first episode of getting me drawn in, wanting to see more of it.
Boys.
Yep.
That's a series?
Amazon Prime, 8 episodes so far, general 45-minute episode length, and they're all currently out. Yeah, it's basically 4 or 5 people that don't have superpowers who have been wronged by superhero society, trying to
Oh, that's
take,
right.
take out basically
I keep seeing trailers about this.
a
and it's-
Justice League that doesn't give a fuck
yeah.
about the consequences of their actions.
It's like the Watchmen, but opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good way of looking at
yeah.
it. Carl Urban's a fucking treat in it.
Really?
Oh, he's super entertaining.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. As weird as it is, I started watching Big Little Lies.
I wouldn't say it's weird at all.
Very good.
Very popular show.
Very good. Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon.
I think Meryl Streep is
Meryl Streep is in-
astounding.
Meryl Streep plays a bitch in season 2.
Meryl
And
Streep's always astounding.
I was really glad he went that way.
I was a little worried.
I'd get real upset.
Meryl Streep is a national treasure.
Dorothy Mansion
But no,
is a saint.
I'm surprisingly hooked on it, and it's one of those like murder mystery shows.
Who done it?
Who done it? But it's also very. There's a lot of twists and turns, and you're sympathizing with every character that they follow, and then you start like choosing sides, but you don't want to choose sides.
Because then you'll end up finding out that things didn't go.
Maybe
how
I
you
shouldn't
thought.
have chosen sides. Yeah, and it's very like I'm surprisingly entertained by it. I had gotten it mixed up with Pretty Little Liars,
Mm.
which is that like high school girl like whodunit show. I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did you watch Pretty Little Liars?
I did not.
My girlfriend watched Pretty Little Liars. And
What's
I get
that
it's like
about?
it's a guilty pleasure show, and every time I would walk out and she was watching it, and I'd be like, okay, so what's going on right now? And she would explain to me. I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. Why would that ever be a thing? That makes no sense at all. And she'd get mad at me. She'd be like, can you just go away so I can enjoy my show? And I'm like, but how can you enjoy?
But
the
how?
show? It's
How are you
ridiculous.
enjoying this? This is insane. This shouldn't happen.
Exactly. There's no way.
And you kind of feel that way about Big Little Lies because it's like if you just did this, none of this would have happened. But all of this is happening because someone had to tell a lie and then it led to another lie, which led to another lie, and then you had to cover up all the lies. And I don't know, it's a good one, but it's very like they depict spousal abuse very graphically in that show. And if you're triggered by that, I would warn against watching it in some of those places because it's pretty graphic. But other than that, it's a very entertaining show.
Yeah, it's definitely.
That's my suggestion. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
your choice.
There was just the finale of season 2.
Yeah.
this weekend.
And they're definitely going to make a season 3. I can tell. So if you like watching rich people drama, it's a very good show. Actually, I would highly recommend it. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I got. You
Yeah,
got
I
anything
think
else?
that could wrap it up for the week.
All right, Josh,
I'm good.
Holly,
Got nothing.
got nothing. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do just a straight up separate video to talk about Hall H because there's
Yeah,
there's so much, and I mean it's already kind of been done to death, but there's still definitely some things.
if you guys want to figure out
Hot
what happened at
takes.
Comic-Con, you can just know where to go. You probably already have your submissions and your subscriptions and fucking watching whoever to cover it. But if you want more detail on what we talked about, we're taking comments and suggestions on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I think is going to be up soon. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I'm John Tubbs,
I'm Keegan. It's been funny, guys.
Still Josh.
still Josh, and
Holly.
that's Holly. All right, talk to you guys later.
Peace.